Hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving. We did. It was the calm after the storm of tribute, which I just can't tell you enough. First of all, for those of you that came out and joined us, we had a full house. You were an incredible audience. I mean, it was one of those shows that just, the energy was palpable. It filled the room. The show was amazing. All of the models, I'm so proud of you. You did an amazing job. And I guess the most wonderful thing of the whole thing is exactly what I'm going to be talking about today, which is important for every single person out there, and that is the power of community. Our lives have become so much more isolated and removed, and social media can cause that even more than is healthy. Isolation is not a good place. So whatever creative endeavor or any pursuit that you have, I know I've mentioned this before many times, but in the end of my father's life, which I didn't know was close to the end, I was 19 years old and he was in his early 50s, and for all practical purposes, a healthy, incredible man. But one of the last conversations that I had with him before he had his heart attack was about the importance of who you surround yourself with. So he was my hero, and he impacted me even to today, even though he was no longer a part of my life from the time I was 19. So much of who I am, my entrepreneurial spirit, so much came from him. And I remember him saying to me, never go it alone. Always have people that have your back. I grew up in a neighborhood that was kind of this idyllic neighborhood in Iowa where we played kickball in the streets, and the night before school started every year, my dad would put a fire in the backyard, and we'd get hot dogs and we'd roast marshmallows, and he would drive up in his El Camino. Yes, you heard it right. He would drive in his El Camino. He'd load us all up in the back, which you couldn't do that. You really couldn't do that today, but it was 5 minutes from our house. We had an A&W drive up, where you come and you park and they come and bring your food. Literally 5 minutes from our house, and we'd get big gallons of root beer, and it was just really great. How I got off on that tangent, I don't know. But my point is, he and my mother created an environment where the neighborhood was community, it was family. If we had anybody in our life that was going through a hard spot, he was the guy that would say, do they need to come live with us? In high school, we had a friend that ended up moving in, and then a woman who worked with my mother who didn't have any family. My parents bought a little house by us, restored it, and she lived there until she passed away. So community is everything to me, and thankfully Jeff was raised the same way. His mother and his aunt were always the ones to give and extend and do what they could do for other people. And I know that is the foundation of Mother. Mother was built on a foundation of that, and we've raised our kids in that way. And now Willa, and as our little grandbabies get older, they'll get to experience that there's always somebody new around, or the reality is family is whoever. Community and having each other's back is everything. I look back at when early in the years of like 1995, 96, 97, we used to go to a modeling convention. Long story short, I won't bore you with all the details, but it's a great story that you'll be reading about in a book but it was during that time that we came back and said, let's do our own event in Iowa. And literally the beautiful thing about it is it took a village to be able to do it. The beautiful thing about Tribute, now just having completed our 8th year, is it takes a village, it takes a community, the creative people that are a force, from the makeup artists, the hair team. Drew, you're just the best, and the fact that you come back from New York to contribute in this way. The designers, the stylists, Tia and Wes, Sarah, I can't even, assistant is not even a proper word. She helps produce and run this like a well-oiled machine. And then the volunteers that are a part of it, the lighting, you come into this place and you go, wow, this is really amazing. In whatever capacity in your life, I can't encourage you enough to find your people, to find your tribe, to look for community. Or if you're in a place where you feel like you have something to contribute to somebody, contribute it. Figure out a way that you can sow into somebody else's life. It'll come back to you 1,000,000-hundredfold. So the show was fantastic, really awesome. The next day, for the first time, we did an event, and it exceeded every expectation that I had. Sarah did an amazing job coordinating pop-up shops, and we had some great people in the community that I love when creatives come together. People have their small businesses, vendors, designers. That was really lovely. It was so fun to see people come back from the show the night before to see and experience the pop-up, to the extended family, all the people that were a part of it. But the really, really awesome thing was the event. And here's what we did. First, we began with the incredible agents that flew in to be a part of Tribute. There were 7 attending, and we did a panel where I moderated, and basically it was questions about the industry, about modeling, about honestly, about being really interesting people and how it's so important. One of my favorite quotes, and I can't remember who said it, but they were like, if modeling is everything to you, that's not okay. You need to have more. You need to find interest. So that was a powerful panel. Then we went to our models that are traveling and working and experiencing this. And we had from all different variances of experience, all the way from Alanna Arrington, who's been modeling and traveling the globe and doing really well, to one of our new girls, Sav Thomas, who for the first time, has been traveling and what that feels like. And then, so her perspective was different, and the whole collaborative conversation of the models that we had to varying degrees was really awesome, because they were able to share their story and engage with the people that were there to listen. And I know that people really learned a lot in that process. Next, I was really excited about this. I want to build on this. I want to do more of this. We had a panel of moms of mothers of models, mothers of mother models. We had 3 moms who, again, too, some are new to it, some have been doing this for years, and to get their perspective, what to expect, what it looks like. To paint a very truthful, honest picture, to inform, to educate. I just loved their insight into what that looks like. And then we had great experts that really were able to share their expertise, from skincare to fitness. John Benton was here. We had a great orthodontist who's worked with some of our models. The whole thing was incredible. Just a great collaborative effort, that the conversation became bigger because there were so many voices. And going into 2019, I literally was like, okay, God, here's where we are at this point. We're doing really great. Business is strong. We were like, what can we do to make things better? I really feel great about how the organizational aspect of Tribute, how it moved. It was a well-oiled machine. It was fantastic. Every year, seeing that it becomes elevated over and over and over. Today, Michael Drummond was here briefly, one of the designers that was in the show, and we were talking about how you just keep going. You just don't quit. To all of a sudden go, wow, I can't believe this is our 8th Tribute. Time flies. And with each one, you get better. So for anything that you're working on, whether it is a hobby, a sport, something extracurricular, maybe it's a passion, maybe it's a business. I don't know what you have that it, kind of fuels your soul, but I will tell you this, just don't stop. Just don't quit. And super important, don't allow yourself to isolate yourself. Don't let the loudest voice in your head be you. That's a dangerous place to be. And also don't surround yourself with people that only know the level that you know. You have to have mentors. I talked about this on the last podcast. The value of mentors, the value of having people that can speak into your lives. I looked up collaboration because I just love words. Is being an active member of a group that works together to achieve a common goal. Being an active member means not only do you participate in conversations, meetings, and interactions passively, only listening and learning, but you also add and you contribute to the group. That's where I think the beautiful thing of Tribute becomes greater than itself. Adding the element of an event and educating and interacting with people. Now we're gonna not only do that as part of Tribute, but we're planning something in the springtime that will just be that. That will, and maybe a little show involved, but more opportunities to bring more people together, to collaborate more, to fuel each other's passions and to be there for each other. The world needs more of that, and it's something that we're super passionate about. So we're going to keep that going. A couple of other great quotes as we get ready to wrap. Individual commitment to a group effort. That is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, and a civilization work. That's Vince Lombardi, who obviously one of the best coaches of all time. And I love this one too. Ken Blanchard. I know he's a business expert. I remember his books from, I don't know, maybe they're still relevant. I feel bad if they're not but I recognize his name from like back in the day. I loved this simple quote. The simple ones are always the best ones. None of us is as smart as all of us. If you sit individually and try and figure things out, or don't find a great community, you're going to be banging your head against the wall forever. It's important that we come together. Again, thankful is an understatement, and we appreciate everyone who attended Tribute, everyone that contributed to Tribute, every model, everybody that flew in. You are all super valuable to us, and I can't wait to share everything that we have planned for 2020. Now is the time. There's not that many days left of the year, so now is the time to start setting goals. We'll talk about that next week. Thanks for tuning in on this lovely Monday, and have a great week.